Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is official. The Bank of America has publicly revealed alarming proof that many will soon be wiped out by the coming devastation. A devastating blow that will wipe out households of all income levels, of all income brackets and earning levels, if not prepared. Those teetering on the edge and skirting by paycheck to paycheck, well, those folks barely making ends meet are most at risk. And this doesn't look good if you ask me. Now, I have some charts I want to show you guys as well. Plus, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen just made her predictions on the upcoming anticipation of a downturn in the U.S. economy. And this all after Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan Chase, just dropped a bomb on all of us with his annual letter to shareholders that begins off by saying, "Dear fellow shareholders, across the globe, 2022 was another year of significant challenges. From a terrible war in Ukraine and growing geopolitical tensions, particularly with China, to a politically divided America. And most all nations felt the effects of global economic uncertainty, including higher energy and food prices, mounting inflation rates and volatile markets, and of course, the COVID-19's lingering impacts. And while all these experiences and associated turmoil have serious ramifications on our company, colleagues, clients, and the countries in which we do business, their consequences on the world at large, with the extreme suffering of the Ukrainian people and the potential restructuring of the global order, are far more important." And Dimon also wrote that current economic conditions create more risk and potentially higher inflation and higher rate hikes. And that's not good for the people struggling to pay bills, struggling to make ends meet, and are already buried in debt. Massive amounts of burden and just trying to get by and keep their heads above water. And according to Starwood Capital CEO Barry Sternlicht, who has a net worth of $4.6 billion, he says we should all be paying attention to this one key factor today: rent prices. And interestingly enough, a friend of mine called me because she needed help paying her rent. And throughout the discussion and conversation, we got onto the topic of 401k matching contributions and employee stock purchase programs. Now, she proceeded to tell me that she was not in any position where she could reduce her weekly take-home pay, and was curious why I would even bring up this as a potential solution to her problem. As the 401k contributions will reduce your take-home pay, as these funds are directed to your investments, typically matched by your employer. Now, she told me that the stress and anxiety has gotten so bad that she can hardly concentrate, focus, or sleep, and has since begun taking CBD to help get her over the hump. But I quickly enlightened her of ways in which she and many other people can quickly, simply, and easily have immediate access to funds without a credit check and receive semi-monthly payments on the 1st and the 15th. People are able to get free money from their employers' retirement matching programs and don't have to have the money on hand to contribute. It's key, because let's just face it, money is tight right now, and we all could use some extra every month. And what better way to make that happen, and make it happen twice a month without a credit check or any money out of pocket to weather the storm of inflation and higher prices all around. And there is a company that provides this service, which allows people to be reimbursed for their contributions so that they can use these benefits to build long-term wealth while allowing them to keep their full paycheck for other priorities, which is important. Save for an emergency, build an emergency fund, or big purchase. Pay down high interest debt like credit cards, student loans, medical expenses, and other detriments to the ability for your paychecks to go further, your money to have its most value. Needless to say, she was very pleased we had this little chat today. And it would seem as though we would have better support, but instead our GOV keeps sending billions of dollars to other countries and their citizens instead of us, instead of the American people. And I also believe that Biden is funding the Philippines now too. But at least if you know your options and are connected with the right people, you can take advantage of great opportunities that employers offer, and it is basically free money. Free money from their matching program and money that people need access to now without immediate repayment terms, and can get the checks on the 1st and the 15th, just like clockwork. Now, tell me if that wouldn't be helpful with buying groceries, stocking up, and paying your rent and other basic needs and necessities that have become so darn expensive over the last few years. It is just ridiculous. But as I mentioned earlier in the video, we have some important, alarming breaking news that I want to share with you from Bank of America. And what they're saying is the beginning of a full-blown recession that we are entering into. And Bank of America shares their opinions. That fears of an imminent recession have reached a fever pitch this year, with everyone from Wall Street market strategists to company CEOs warning of a slowdown in the U.S. economy. But so far, no recession has materialized, as the jobs market and consumer spending have remained fairly resilient. But according to Bank of America, there are plenty of signs and signals that suggest a recession has not been avoided, and there are 12 charts that indicate that the U.S. is on the verge of entering a full-blown recession, according to Bank of America's Michael Hartnett. Now, the first chart we can see here is that of a decline in manufacturing activity. And this rings a bell clearly with me as I receive the comments and the messages and the chats and the engagement with the members of the network, the Patreon, where I post exclusive content and videos and information that I can't necessarily divulge on this platform for reasons of trying to keep this channel from being further suppressed and possibly shut down. But the comments are coming in from real world, boots on the ground, insider intel of people in manufacturing roles having seen a reduction overall, their income, their pay, their salary, their compensation, their bonus structure, their hours. One of which actually working for GM and stating that they saw a reduction when the CEO of GM decided to shut down manufacturing to reduce supply in order to drive up demand and keep prices high. Number two, a decline in manufacturing often coincides with lower earnings, which is exactly what we just discussed. Those go hand in hand, and I don't think we need this chart to realize that there's a decline in earnings from people being laid off and also being offered lower compensation in order to keep their jobs. Number three, global earnings models suggest imminent decline. This, as I've said before, our economies are interconnected. It's not just one. This is a worldwide problem that we are facing. And as we can see these dips in these charts here, this problem extends beyond the borders of the United States of America. Number four is a steepening yield curve, often preceding a recession, as history has proven in the past. Can we avoid this? Can we avert this? Can we soften this? Time will tell. But U.S. Treasury 2-year, 10-year yield curve flattens and inverts in anticipation of recession, and yield curves steepen immediately as recessions begin. U.S. Treasury 2-year, 10-year yield curve has steepened from a negative 110 basis points to negative 50 basis points in past 4 weeks. Sorry guys, get distracted. We're at the dog park here. My dog's running around with these other dogs in here. Number 5, price of oil showing concerns of a recession. The announcements made by OPEC, the potential preparation and anticipation of $5 a gallon gasoline this summer. Number 6 is the jobs market often follows manufacturing activity. And I think the numbers that we're seeing in the jobs market are a little bit skewed. But as I said earlier in this release, that the jobs market and consumer spending has been resilient. But I feel as though we are about to come to a head and we're going to see that take a sharp decline. Number 7 is the global home prices are falling. And I don't think I need to be the first one to tell you that home prices are down. Certain markets, certain hyperlocal markets will experience their own uniqueness within real estate, but across the board, you can check out channels like Reventure Consulting, Jason Walters, Chris Igo. They're all bringing you up to the minute, accurate information in regard to the housing market, housing affordability, housing prices. Number 8 is a credit crunch will hurt the jobs market. And this was something that we discussed, Squirrel Tribe, my wife, Michelle, and I, just the other day as we reviewed an Economic Ninja video and other stories being shared about store closures, businesses shutting down, and ultimately this impacting credit, especially with the banks in their liquidity risks and concern of contagion and decline. Number 9 is a decline in European bank lending. We've touched on that as well. I hope you guys are watching these videos that I'm sharing with you. I'm trying to keep it well-rounded and bring you guys a complete picture of what's going on. That's going to be the best way that we can plan and prepare and protect moving forward. Number 10 is a weak jobs market leads to big interest rate cuts. We are waiting to see the Fed pivot. That will be a clear sign and indication on the way to a recession. 11 stocks dropped after last Fed rate hike in inflationary periods, which again, buy on the red days is what I do. I don't know what you guys do. Comment down below. What is your stock investment purchasing strategy? Or are you instead only focused on trying to retain as much money as possible and keep your heads above water and make ends meet and pay bills? Last but not least, the stocks and recessions don't mix well, but money will be made in a down economy. And again, I like buying things on sale and when discounts are present.